Now, the rest of the story.
So it's been an ongoing issue with the 7600, has been a shifting issue. So with Randy, Dale, I don't know if Kevin has been in this too much where it's been doing this, but this fall the 7600 had a transmission failure. The clutches and everything were fine. It was, it was just that seal, right? That rubber O-ring in the transmission, and that had been going out for quite a while from what we saw. So the 76 transmission job wasn't as severe as it really could have been, but when it came home, we were having an issue with the fact, I can probably demonstrate this on the bench here. So you'd have it in forward range, and what would happen if you wanted to bring it back to park is you'd pull it back. I don't know if I can do this. Thing is, it'll probably work all right on the bench. And I think we're second gear. First, that's first gear. All right, well, when you pull it back into park, it really should come straight back, put the transmission into neutral, and allow you to put it in park. But what happens is, you guys see what I just did there? You didn't hear it click that it pulled it back out of first gear. So what happened was, you could pull it back into park while the tractor was still in first gear. And when you go to let the clutch out, you hear popping and banging, and you ultimately push the clutch in, trying to figure out what's all going on. And what it turned out to be, after disassembling this whole mess, is, so watch. You can wrench it in there, and it's still actually in first gear. So if I pull it back, that's first. I'm going to do some investigating on everything else down through here to make sure there isn't anything else that has been worn or come apart. But what I saw initially is the shifting handle where it connects down into all the mechanisms. That is an awful lot of play. And there's bushings down in there. The bushings are gone, because I was originally just going to replace the bushings and go on my way, but it's actually egg-shaped out down below, where putting bushings in isn't, it's a short-term band-aid. So I did go through and get the new shifting handle and this cross piece, and I think that's all we really need as far as I'm aware of. Otherwise, it's early enough in the day I can order more parts. Now I'm going to go out and admit this tractor has been, or this whole assembly has been taken apart many years ago by me. And what I noticed, you see this piece right here? I honestly do not believe that's supposed to be hanging down like that. There's this, you see that shaft? That you got a curved shaft right here. I'm pretty certain that is supposed to be lined up with this, and that would actually help alleviate some of the problems that we're seeing. I mean, I'm gonna put it back on and see how it works, but I don't know what all happened, if it was a product of me taking it apart. I mean, gosh, I think we're talking like 6-7 years ago. But I'm gonna go through and take this whole piece out and see what the rest of this looks like, just in case we need to order more parts. All right, so I think I got my phone set back right. I'm gonna go back to using my GoPros here. I just got to get around to it. But for this project, it's going to be a cell phone video, and I wanted you guys to see where I'm coming at, or why I'm even here in regards to the shifting handle and this whole mechanism on the 7600. And exactly what I just showed my mom, this is the used one. So I'm I hope the camera's picking that up, but you see all of that play right here? See, it's not supposed to do that. So this is the new piece. Significantly better performance. There's no play in there whatsoever. And I'm not sure where I'm at on this video series because I've done 2 or 3 videos. I'm not sure what's all going to make it into the final product. But we went through, I started to put this back together, found more parts that I needed. Granted, it was $6 worth of parts, but it's also goes in line with when I was doing the seat on the 76. I'm here, I might as well do it because I'm hoping that I won't have to go through and do this again for a while. So what I actually needed was 4 of these bushing pieces. The ones that were in here weren't terrible, but definitely had been worn down, and oh yeah, definitely got some grooving in them. So I'm here. Let's just go through and make it new, because our family friends that were helping us, you know, Dale, Randy, Uncle, I don't know if Kevin's really gotten to drive this that much, or has been driving this one that much. We were having issues with putting it into park from first gear directly. So we went from first gear straight to park, and not from first gear neutral to park. And that was nobody's fault but this piece right here. And I wasn't going to replace the handle itself. I was just going to do the bushings. But at this point, I also noticed once I got it apart how much the handle itself, my camera will focus, is grooved out. So for $300 worth of parts, hopefully it'll make it, like Grandpa Keen used to say, just like brand new machine. So, and then I also did find this piece was laying down like that. I do believe that is supposed to be up, like, well, that's what the whole point of having this hook piece here is. The handle is supposed to be, you know, engaged with this piece. So I'm not 100% sure what that is supposed to do. I mean, it makes me sound like a terrible farmer, but I'm going to go through and put it back together with that up like that and see if it works properly, because I have everything on the bench here. This thing is a blast and a half getting out of the tractor. I forced it out. Gonna get it all cleaned up, made sure everything else on it was not worn, not damaged or fixing to fail, and everything else looks good on it. I was concerned about this piece right here, which I can't even turn it right now, but as far as that goes, that piece seems fine. So we're gonna let her ride, and I gotta go through as I'm putting this together. That didn't sound good. Put a little bit of grease or Never Seas. Haven't really decided what I want to put in there yet. Could put in some of that dry lube stuff from back there. Maybe even just some gel lube, so it'll kind of stick to where it's going. And try to make sure this tractor is going to run superb going forward for anybody that's running it, because the 7600 is our everywhere tractor at the moment, and I like it to be as close to 100% as I can keep it. So she doesn't have quite 10,000 hours on it yet, but we will be seeing 10,000 hours on the hour meter this year. So I have all the parts I need now. I'm just pretty much taking my time and putting it back together, because I do have a load of hay down at the valley I need to go bring home. I'd rather use the 76 pulling that hay wagon home with a full load of bales than trying to go 20 miles an hour with the pickup back home. So let's get at it. Okay guys, still in the process of putting this together, but I just wanted to show everyone that I did actually decide to go with putting grease on it. This is the heavy duty grease that we put in all of our grease zerks, all of our bearings, everything else we use on all of our machines outside of the combine, which gets the extreme duty stuff, which is sitting over there. Okay, the problem with this is putting grease in like this what it does is it potentially collects dirt, which in turn results in more wear and tear, you know, things sticking. But rather than not using any grease, we've already seen what happens without using any, and I'd rather just try to prolong the life on this. On this piece, and this piece, they all have bushings in their own right, and on each one of these there's a gap. I know my camera can't pick it up. There's a gap between the bushings on each side because the bushings are pressed in from each side, so there's actually a gap in the center on each of these pieces, and I went through and filled those gaps full of grease to try to help prolong the wear and tear on all these parts. So ideally we can get a few thousand more hours, a couple thousand more hours on this without having to worry about tearing it back apart again, because it's been a few years since I've done this, taking this apart the last time, and I didn't fix it properly last time, and this whole process is being done the way it would be done at a dealership. So let me get it back together. Alright, this is the completed assembly for the 76. So definitely a lot tighter, everything. When you shift it down, which is hard to do one-handed, trying to hold everything. So there, I just did it, but it's harder to do when you're actually keeping it from flexing. It's secured into the tractor, it'll be a lot better. But overall, everything is actually much better than what it was when I took it out, which was kind of the whole point of this build here. But new parts, everything actually is where it's supposed to be, because this piece down here wasn't engaged when I tore it apart. But overall, I think it should be good for another 10,000 hours.